What's up, Fuse family? My name's Robbie, and I'm here with Joey and Silas. And today we're going to be bringing you Roman Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori 2 predictions, and then we're also going to be bringing you UFC 313 recap. So, to start it off, we got the main event of UFC 313. We got Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev.
Hit fight.
Very good fight.
It was
Boring
nice.
fight, but
Hit fight.
yeah. So let's start
I
off
mean,
with
I'll start it
Alex
off.
Pereira. How we feeling about Alex Pereira?
Scared. I think that's the main word. He was on his back foot the whole fight. He didn't really try and throw. I didn't see him try and go for any of his shots. Um, Stamina didn't look the greatest. He did good at takedowns, though. I will say he had a pretty good takedown defense. Ank, you know, he doesn't run out of energy, so I think that definitely played a huge role in that fight. Um, I think we're gonna see an immediate rematch. I think things are gonna go a lot differently. I think Pereira won't be as scared. I think he will, stay in front of him more and throw more,
Yeah.
and hopefully, we saw Pereira land. I think it was third or fourth round. He hit a good combo and he kind of, and Ank back a little bit. So if we just saw that more, I feel like that fight would have been totally different. But I mean,
I definitely think that fight definitely could have been different when it comes to Alex Pereira, and we know exactly what he's about. The only thing that I don't know is I don't know if the Alex Pereira we saw on Saturday was not the best Alex Pereira we've ever seen. I mean, everybody was worried about the takedown for Ankalaev, which, in my opinion, yes, I know he's Dagestani, but he says himself he's a kickboxer, and we have to take him at his word because in the end, he didn't really get Pereira down. He did hold him in the clinch, and yes, that was considered control. However, he didn't lie to us. He stood up there and he banged with Alex Pereira and he rocked him a couple times.
Yeah, rocked him bad in
Alex
that
Pereira
second
was
round.
defending those takedowns. Yeah. Pereira was defending those takedowns, which is why I say I don't know if that wasn't the best Pereira we've ever seen. And that makes me kind of believe that I don't really know if the rematch is going to be much different. Ankalaev was setting up his shots. He was stepping out to the outside with his right foot, and Alex Pereira was working the leg kicks. He was doing his exact plan that he said he was going to do, but it just didn't end up working out for him. Ank kept pushing forward. It was just extremely interesting, and I think it's a huge step for the light heavyweight division in the first place. And I think we're really close to a logjam, which I'm sure you guys both know with Yuri Prohaska
And then Alex
getting
clearing out the
his
whole
win.
division.
Alex is starting to hold up the division because I mean, what a nightmare situation we get into if there's no immediate rematch and Yuri faces Ankalaev and beats him. What are we gonna
Oh.
do? Alex versus Yuri 3? Like,
Yeah.
no, no one wants to see that. It's bottom line,
Yuri's
a
done.
really good win for Ankalaev. Shot up the pound for pound rankings. Very interested. I think the rematch is the only way you can go, and Dana White is praying that Pereira can knock him out again because otherwise
Dana
it's
doesn't
gonna
like
be
it.
yeah, it
I
might be
think
a long reign for Ankalaev though. He's nasty.
yeah, I think he's to be honest with you, I think he's been the rightful champion since 2022 when he fought Jan Blachowicz. Um, I think in this fight his left hand was money. You rocked him
Oof, yeah.
bad in the second round. I feel like Pereira always gets lucky with that timing when he gets rocked. Obviously in the Adesanya fight at 287, he got put out bad, but Big Ank here stepping in with the left hand rocked him really bad, sent him to the edge of the cage, but then he clinched right away. Couldn't really finish anything. Pereira just looked like a lost little puppy in there, to be honest with you. I think that his coaches definitely aided him to not unload like he did in the first Adesanya fight. So I think that played a big role of him not like trying to find that kill shot. But I think
Yeah, and
Ank's a
he
better
was scared of
fighter.
the takedown. He was
Yeah,
scared
I
of the takedown, which
definitely
is
for
why he
sure.
couldn't
But
set up his tempo.
exactly.
it
Yeah,
was
he couldn't
obvious
get
that
any
the
shots
game
through.
plan was leg kick. Um,
Mhm.
it's clear to me that Big Ank's boxing's definitely better than Pereira's, but overall, I do think Pereira's a better striker. I think just Ankalaev's a better MMA fighter. That's just how it comes down for
I
me.
mean, if we're talking about boxing, I mean, can we get to this Gaethje Fiziev fight, dude?
Yeah,
Like,
let's roll it down. So
that was masterful. It was just a great performance.
Beautiful.
What it means for Justin Gaethje, there was absolutely nothing in that fight for him. He does not get anything out of this
Nope.
except the respect of the people, which he got because it was a
Talking
great
bad.
performance. And the truth is, you really don't know what you're gonna get with a guy who just got knocked out. The entire world saw his fucking blackout body. Justin Gaethje, everybody, the entire world was seeing that clip of his body limp in the middle of the octagon at UFC 300. But you just don't know what you're gonna get when it comes to people like that coming back in the fight. I think it was a pretty good matchup against Fiziev, and he just really showed off. I mean, the first fight against Fiziev was not really that convincing, but Gaethje really locked in.
Yeah, especially in that third
Yeah,
round there.
yeah, I would definitely say I knew this was coming. I knew Fiziev, was gonna struggle a little bit. Obviously, he hasn't fought in 2 years prior to that. He also was coming off an injury and a 2-week notice. So, I mean, Gaethje's just so unpredictable. I don't, we don't like Silas said, we don't know what he's gonna be like. We saw him get absolutely violated by Max Holloway. I just knew Gaethje had a little bit of a advantage in this fight, and I did say that he was going to win by decision. But I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think next for him? Do you think
I
you
think
know?
I think
Do
it
you
can
think
go
he has
either
one
way.
more fight before title?
I think Ilya deserved the title shot more than Gaethje, and then also Armin does. But I think that the UFC is going to give Gaethje the title shot. And then as for Fiziev,
I think
I
that's
think
what
he put up
Islam wants.
a decent performance, even on
You
short
know,
notice
I think it's
with injuries.
interesting. I think it's interesting based on this timeline. I mean, I think who says no to Ilya versus Gaethje? Like that's
No,
Ilya
that would be
says
a
he wants a
banger.
fight up there.
Solid one.
Ilya says he
And
wants one fight up there. I mean, he wanted Charles or Armin. He mainly called out Charles, but he called out both of them.
yeah, I think
And I think he wants to grapple, but I don't think they could make so much money off of that fight with like Ilya versus Gaethje, and
it's a bad look for
especially because
Islam.
we could be set up for a rematch with Islam and either Charles or Sarukian.
I think that
But yeah,
if we see Gaethje Topuria, I think Gaethje's gonna end up the same way he did against Max Holloway. To be honest with you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's Poirier is
yeah,
different.
yeah.
I mean, we just saw him.
Warriors.
We
You
saw
guys know how I
what
feel about
he did
Ilya
to Max.
Taporia, man. I
Yeah.
love Ilya Taporia.
Yeah,
As far as Rafael Vaziev goes, I think he could actually be a contender to fight one of these up and coming lightweights. I mean, Money Moicano is trying to get back into the mix. But I mean, we're about to talk about,
let's piggyback off that and go to this fight
I was
too.
gonna
So
say Ignacio
Ignacio
Bahamondes, man, he looked
Bahamondes
really nice.
looked very slick in there. Kind of pulled guard in there a little bit, but
Which
he
was
wrapped
so
up
interesting.
that triangle very tight. Jalen Turner definitely could have got out of it, but I think, like I said in the last video, I think he just gives up, man. And like we know, he's fucking retiring. So
Turner's done, dude. He had no motivation going into this fight. I mean, we saw him right away. He looked a little nervous, and then as soon as he went down, I mean, it just seems like he had no idea what he's doing. Also, Bahamondes just, you know, I mean, that was a fabulous. He timed that submission perfectly. So, I mean, Turner, what he's lost 4 of his last 5 or something like that. So, I mean, we knew he was on his downfall. Um, I didn't really expect much out of him. I thought he was going to do a little bit more on the feet, so I'm a little sad that went to the ground. But yeah,
I don't think anyone else expected it to go to the ground as
no,
much as we did. I
I thought
mean,
it was striking.
I know. I mean, we know that Bahamondes been training with Bilal
Yep,
and that entire
confidence.
camp, and
He's
so
getting
you know that he has the ability there. But Bilal, I mean, he wasn't really known for his oppressive wrestling until that fight against Leon Edwards. And I think that's like kind of what Bahamondes, he was more known for his striking, staying on his feet, staying in the pocket. And I think it really is one of these like statement sort of wins where just kind of trying to flex and show off some of the skills.
Yeah,
And I think
quality.
Bahamondes versus Fiziev would be an absolute war, extremely entertaining. And it makes me have a little hope for when we lose these lightweights like Charles, Dustin,
Yeah.
and even Charles, Dustin, Justin, and Islam to retirement. I just think it makes me really excited that we have someone like this coming up.
Yeah. Another thing you can do with Fiziev, I'm gonna go down here. You can also match him up with Ruffy. Talk about that KO. KO was
Mugiwara no Rufi, bro.
clean, boy.
He's him. I
Scalp
mean,
knee kick to the
we
jaw.
knew
up
King
his-
Green's getting old. You know, he's 30. What is he? 36 or 38?
He's definitely old.
He's
Unk.
old. Rufy's, you know, he's one of the biggest up and comers in the lightweight right now. Obviously we saw that head kick that brought Green down. I mean, what else can we say about him? I mean, he's just been showing off KOs after KOs.
I mean, that Yontop fight was a little scary, but he's been on a little bit of a
I mean,
streak.
that I don't know if it was scary. It was just kind of like it was kind of a experience getting situation
Yeah,
where he never looked out of control in that fight, and the same could be said with this fight against King Green. He absolutely was setting that up the entire time. He did not lead into it. He did not feint it. He did not throw one leg kick towards the head setting this up. He went into this fight knowing that Bobby Green is going to drop his hands if he goes in for that left hook. And I just think that, or sorry, left head kick. It's just that he's just that good. He went in there setting it up. They do a really good job training,
I mean,
and
if you look
I
at some of
mean
the
it was
clips,
a top 10 KO I've ever seen
for
live.
sure. Definitely the best KO of 2025. If you looked at some of the clips, he was actually drilling that same kick um, in the locker room, which was pretty cool. Kind of like a Conor McGregor moment there, which
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the
he is the
of
Brazilian
when
Conor.
Alex Pereira knocked out Yuri, and he said he saw something in training and he was setting it up.
Yeah, dude, kid looks clean. As for King Green, give him someone who doesn't give a lot of damage. Give him a break, you know. Maybe someone
He's
like
done.
maybe like another unk like Michael Johnson, like that. I mean,
I think
Michael
I'd be
Johnson might kill,
interested. I'd be interested to see. There's going to be massive shakeups in the lightweight division, especially with the fights coming up with Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett.
and you got Joe
It's going to
Alvarez.
be
You got
yes,
Benoit Saint Denis. Yeah, that's a good match.
yeah. There's massive shakeups coming, and I think King Green is kind of falling. He's just going to be continuously fed to the wolves. And he's a guy you can't really count out. But yeah, I'm interested to see where he goes next. Maybe not as interested as I am in Mauricio Rufi, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna touch up on this fight real quick. Not a little bit boring fight, but we saw in this fight just a crafty vet, Amanda Lemache,
Mhm.
Yasmin Lucindo, just the younger, unexperienced fighter, and I think just Lemache just swallowed her. We thought it was gonna
Yeah,
be
the
the other
experience
way.
definitely helped.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really
I
much
mean,
to say about that fight. It's just
she just controlled the whole fight.
a 3-round beatdown.
Was on the ground for a good amount of it. Um, you know, just schooled her, to be honest.
Yeah, nothing really more to say about that fight. Just pretty.
Yeah, it was just
straightforward.
there was not enough urgency with Yasmin Lucindo. She was supposed to come in there the hungrier, younger fighter trying to progress, and it just um she was behind on the striking, and then everybody saw it. We all expected her to try and take it to the ground and get some oppressive get grappling going, and it just wasn't there. I think it's gonna be a learning moment. I don't think that Lucindo is someone that I would write off for a title shot, but she's got to work on being able to stay and keep up the pressure, especially against these vets that are continuously sticking around in the top 5.
Sure. All right. So going on to the next little fight here. So we got my glorious king, Joshua Van.
The GOAT. Oh, he's so good.
I mean, impressive takedown defense. We know Ray Saruya is an amazing wrestler. I think also Ray Saruya shows a lot of promise in the future. Still, I think he's 22 or 23. I think he's 22 years old, but
Yeah.
he has a lot of time to marinate in that flyweight division. I think he needs to fight people less with less takedown defense, and I think Joshua Van just looked really good, boxing crisp, takedown defense crisp. I think he just looks really good, a really active fighter. So I think they got to match him up with Tagir Alimbekov, who just fought at 311. I think.
Yeah,
Clayton Carpenter.
Joshua Van by decision is the lock of all locks. This guy just does not let you fight the way you want. Regardless of who he's fighting, he'll put the pressure on you. He'll throw counter shots. He'll stuff your takedowns. A couple mishaps in the start of his career, but he's just looks really good, and he looks better every time he steps in there. And he's active. This guy really wants to progress. So it's really nice to watch him fight. I'm really excited for what he can do to shake up this division that seems to get a lot of people that stick around for a while. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. Saruya, he did look, he looked good. There were some points where I think he could definitely work on the way he tries to set up his combinations. But I think that there's bright future for both of these guys. Joshua Van is just way more well-rounded at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I like going off what you said with those combinations. Set those up for maybe a takedown. Van's defense was very good. But I mean, Saruya has unlimited stamina. I mean, he was going all 3 rounds, trying to get him down, couldn't get him down. Like you said, the combos, he didn't have anything to work with, trying to get a takedown down. So, definitely, like Rob said, he's still 22. Definitely a learning experience for him. Van definitely looked good. Great boxing. I did pick Saruya to win that fight. I thought he would have done a little more on the ground, would have been able to get him down. But like we said, Van just looked very crisp in that fight. He was definitely well prepared.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, both fighters pretty young. I think they're going to be good fighters in the future. So.
It was the youngest combined.
Yeah.
Youngest two fighters to ever fight.
2000,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
First fighters born
wow.
in 2000. So Bruno Ferreira. Let's talk about Bruno Ferreira real quick. So pulled off a little sub against Armin Petrosian. Looked very good. He lost against Abus Magomedov. He got subbed by Abus, but I think overall Bruno Ferreira's been looking really good in the UFC.
First round looked a little rough, I would say, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I agree.
But
first round looked a little rough, but
that point taken off for the cup kick, the nuts.
Yeah.
Kick. And Petrosian, sorry, but see you later, buddy. You're gone. He's fucking out of the UFC. Later, buddy.
Yeah, talking about that, go one down. He should be right next to him too. Alex. They all just look very. We knew what was going to happen first round KO. He doesn't know what to do as soon as he gets hit with something. So I don't know how that man's still in the UFC. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that one at all.
No.
Yeah, so we got Leal. Fucking destroyed Alex Morono in a round. Just wilted him. He's too powerful. He's a juice head, so just give him more steroids and have him do that to people. So love that. Next fight we got Marshall and Santos. Let's talk about this.
This one was an absolute robbery.
Ridiculous.
I for one did pick Santos, and I was sitting in a room of people fairly discouraged after that third round. I was so convinced that I was going to be 0 for 1. This was the first fight that I had picked on the night. But lucky break for me and my wallet. Not a lucky break for Francis Marshall. He fought and he deserved that win. I don't really know what the judges were seeing. I'm not a professional in this case, but I have watched enough fighting to know that Francis Marshall really he controlled that fight. He landed the better shots, and I nothing else to say than what Joey said. It's a robbery, man.
It's just a robbery.
Yeah, I don't.
There's
So
nothing
I
really
have
much
nothing to
say.
say on that. It was, I thought Marshall had that all the way through. I was very shocked when I heard Santos' name called. But who knows? I mean, maybe the judges saw something different than everyone else did, but
Sure.
robbery.
Yeah, robbery, flat out. And then the last fight on the card, we got DeJordan Santos.
Unk, bro.
Ozzy Diaz, bro. He's pretty crafty. I'd say he's pretty crafty. Unk Diaz.
He looked good, and he definitely boxed very well.
Yeah, I
He
think this fight
definitely
was very,
surprised
very
me.
close too. But I think Ozzy Diaz deserved that little unanimous decision there.
Yeah.
I think it could have went either way, but I think overall Ozzy Diaz, crafty veteran, very
Nice
nice.
cap from the dog right there.
Yeah, Santos just didn't really. He didn't really impress me that much.
Really.
He was definitely a tough guy though, because he was taking some hard shots and he was staying right there with them.
Yeah.
He's definitely tough, but nothing really impressive to me.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's gonna be all for the 313 recap. So we'll get on to the Vegas fight night, Dolidze versus Vettori 2.
All right, so I mean, we're working on to this fight night in the UFC Apex. The Apex is, it's a major topic of conversation. Some people like it, some people don't. Works best for the UFC. It's the cheapest, but they sure as hell are starting to put better fights onto this card. I mean, we're starting off with Cortez Acosta versus Ryan Spann here. Ryan Spann moving up to heavyweight, and I think he's not drawn into a good fight. I like Cortez Acosta. He's one of the guys that is really starting to make me a little more excited about the heavyweight division. It's starting to feel a little more stale, except for the top couple guys. But Cortez Acosta, I mean, he's unbelievable. He's one of those guys that he doesn't get hit in a division where there's so many wins by knockout, first round finishes. Waldo Cortez, he has 3 first round finishes, only 5 wins by knockout. He's 12-1. He ended up going 5 rounds with Robelis de Spain, who was riding a crazy hype train leading up to that fight. And he made him look silly.
Spain he's a stud too. I mean,
he is
like you
he
said.
is.
The goat of
But
karate combat.
yeah, Cortez Acosta looks really good. Ryan Spann, he's a I don't know if I call him a legend. He's a veteran for sure.
He's a gamer.
He is. He really, what you're gonna get every time. You know, he and his team at FuzeMMA, they really are dedicated. He's got over 30 fights in the UFC, or sorry, yeah, over 30 fights in the UFC. And of course, it's his first fight at heavyweight. So I apologize. It might not be his first fight at heavyweight, but he's moving up to heavyweight for this fight. And I just think Cortez Acosta gets it done.
Now, are you worried about Spann's last, 5 fights?
Losing to Anthony Smith is atrocious. Okay, so
that's what I was saying.
You got to figure that out. But let's talk about the lighter man skill here. I think Where's Waldo is very good. I think he's a solid guy. Like Silas said before, he kind of fraud checked Robelis to Spain. I think he looks good, and like you said, heavyweight division is stale right now. The top 5, you got Aspinall, Blades, you got Almeida, Volkov, Gane, and that's really about it.
We're starting to get a little
old. I
old.
don't really count John Jones because he's inactive. But yeah, I think the lighter man skill will play a factor in this fight. But I think Where's Waldo is
I think this is
good. And
I think this is a great fight to have on a prelim.
Very good.
I think it's gonna be very entertaining. I love heavyweight fights. I mean, normally ends in a knockout. I mean, Cortez the favorite here. This one's tough. I mean, if I had to go with someone, I'd probably go with Cortez. A little bit more active, and Fans just struggled recently, like Rob said, against Anthony Smith, took a loss by decision. Although Anthony Smith just won against, or no, he lost, right? His past two. Reyes and I'm tripping. He losing the last two
Span,
fights.
he
Smith?
lost. He lost again, or he beat St. Preux, and he lost versus Guskov
Okay, yeah,
and,
he beat
and
St.
Smith
Preux.
And
before
Smith.
St. Preux
Yeah.
Okay,
retired,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think Span. I mean, he did bounce back definitely with that first round sub. UFC 307 with Roundtree and Pereira, which actually was recently. So he's kind of active. But if I had to go with my official pick, I'd probably go Cortez.
Yeah, so I think
Obviously by
we're all running
knockout.
with Cortez. I'm going with the Cortez decision. I think Ryan Spann has a pretty decent chin on him, and I think that Cortez will just outbox
Do
him.
you think the weight contributes a little bit? 12-pound difference.
For sure. But I just think
The
that
power.
I just think Spann's chin's there. You know what I mean? So and
And Cortez
walking
Acosta,
on
like
him.
I said, he's not really the type of guy to knock people out as often as a lot of other heavyweights.
Good Dominican Republic fighter. So yeah. Well, we're all going where's Waldo here, guys. So
Rob, you have by decision. Silas, what do you got? KO decision sub.
I've got decision. You guys will, when we get to our picks later, you guys will see. But yeah, I'm going decision there.
yeah. So all right. So the next fight on the card we got Kevin Vallejos versus Sangwoo Choi. So Kevin Vallejos is looking real good. His last contender series, he had like a 40 punch combination and knocked that red haired guy out.
Gross.
And his only loss ever is to who do you know?
Silva.
John Silva, who is looking
Lord.
extremely good. Vallejos,
I think
he
this
got
one.
beautiful boxing, beautiful head movement. He's short and stocky for that featherweight division. I think he can definitely move down to bantamweight if he has some trouble, and I think he can wreak some havoc down there. But overall, I think he's very solid, and I think Sungwoo Choi is in for a rude awakening here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think this fight's gonna be, that close at all. Choi's on I think 4 of his last 5 fights. He has lost, 2 of them by KO. Vallejos, I mean, 9 years younger. He's ready. He's on a 3-win streak right now, 2 KOs, 1 submission, and he's pretty active. So, I mean, I think the odds on this are very understandable here. -650. I think this fight can be very quick.
Yeah, I think Baez says he's kind of a volume striker, but he does possess the power that he needs to put guys out, especially people like Choi who just get hit. He's just, he's just one of those fighters that can put the pressure on, and I think the number he's up to minus almost 600 on a lot of these betting websites, and I think that's for a reason. I think Baez is just so much better, and I think he's gonna put on a show. I think a lot of people that are getting interested in these upcoming featherweights are gonna be real interested on how high and how close this guy gets to a ranked opportunity after this fight. Granted, he wins. I think he will win, and I think it's gonna be by TKO, and I think he's gonna get a bonus.
Yeah, I agree with that there,
I'm gonna
Silas.
agree with
I'm
that.
really happy that the featherweight division is getting some action, because we all know that the top of the division rules the whole division. Those three there. I mean, obviously, Tub Toto and then Maximum Jerome Holloway is moving up. Both those dudes are moving up to lightweight, and then we got Volkanovski and Diego Lopez clashing it out next card. But I will say that just the featherweight division starting to get exciting with John Silva and now Vallejos stepping in. So I'm excited for the future of that division.
So Vallejos, all 3 of us by TKO KO.
Yeah, seems like a. All right, so
Speaking of by TKO KO,
next fight on the card. So we got Nergaze. So and then we got Brenton Ribeiro. Um,
Oh yeah.
so we got
Upset.
Dr. He actually missed weight by I think it was 10 pounds or maybe five. It was 5 pounds. Yeah, it's light heavyweight. He missed it by 5 pounds. Um, dude, what the fuck? I thought. I mean, he shows a lot of promise. He's very very good fighter. Very hits hard. I think he's established everywhere, on the ground, on the feet. I mean, he's a beautiful fighter, and I think that Brenton Ribeiro is gonna get his ass knocked out. To be honest with you,
His debut, yeah.
yeah. Debut
Yeah, I mean
UFC
he's
fighter champion before they got shut down.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, I mean he's he's extremely talented. I think missing weight was kind of interesting. It was something I wasn't really expecting.
yeah,
You don't, and maybe it's just
He's
my
nervous.
viewpoint, but I feel like a lot of people don't miss weight on their first fight in the UFC.
I also feel
Um,
like the Eastern European fighters. I think they're very respectful and they really take it the sport super seriously. And I think that I don't know. I wouldn't
This
expect
guy's
that
a
from
stud, though.
DR. But
yeah,
This
he's
guy's
he's really
good.
good.
He looked really good on Dana White's Contender Series. His last fight, and like you said, is making his debut. Ribeiro. I don't know. I think. I think this could
Unk.
definitely be Unk. I think this could definitely be an upset. Even though they're a year apart, Unk. But I don't know. I
He's a
think some
UFC
experience.
unk.
Yeah, it's true. I think some experience might help him here. I think this fight could be close, and then with missing weight. Um, I mean, I don't know. He might be a little bit unhealthy. Who knows? But I don't know.
No, that I do know. Nurgaze is going to win this fight.
sure.
I will not be including it in my betting, but I definitely do think that
Why
uh,
not?
I like you said, you're confident in Ribeiro. I'm fairly confident in Nurgaze, and Nurgaze has a really large number next to his name. It's
Yeah,
just not
so
the value isn't there for me.
I'll actually take that from you guys, and I'll be the one to bet on it. And I think
All right, cool.
Nergaze is going to be knockout Ribeiro, unfortunately, especially with that extra 5 pounds. So 5 to 10 pounds. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
what
much.
about the reach? 7-inch reach is a lot.
Brenton
Think that's gonna
Ribeiro
play a
is a
big role in
jobber.
this?
No, he's a unk
I
jobber.
I I, eh,
Unk jobber is going to get knocked out. Sorry, that's going on.
I don't know if the reach is gonna be as big of a factor, purely because Nurgaze has other threats other than the striking.
All right.
But
Oh,
Yeah, Nergaze KO for me and
Silas,
Silas.
official pick. Yeah, I got
I'm
Ribeiro by KO.
I'm not going to. I'm just gonna say Nurgaze money line. I don't know how he's gonna win, but he will.
All right. Nergaze KO for me. Money line for Silas. Joey's going Ribeiro money line.
Yeah,
All right. Let's go on to the next. All right. So the next fight. This is a solid bantamweight fight. We got
it's a good fight.
Damon Blackshear versus Cody Gibson. So on the right side here, we got Cody Gibson, who is the ultimate the ultimate fighter contender, who fought against Brad Katona and he fucking lost to him. So that's a bad look, to be honest with you. Um, and then on the left side,
Yeah.
we got Damon Blackshear, who looked really good in his last fight, pulled that submission off. Um, and I think that he had a really close fight with Mario Batista, and I think he looked pretty good, and that was on 7 days' notice. And I think overall, Damon Blackshear is a solid fighter, and Cody Gibson, he's an older veteran, but
Gibson's an unk.
yeah, he's an
37
older
years
guy.
old.
But I think Damon Blackshear is going to be quicker, and I think that Damon Blackshear might even hit a little TKO here. So my take.
I would have to agree. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've kind of seen the slow fall of Cody Gibson. He hasn't looked extremely impressive in his last fights. I think he's probably a loss or two away from his contract being released. Um, as far I don't know how many fights are left on his contract, to be honest. However, I know that Demel Blackshear has looked impressive in his last fights. Like Rob said, that Mario Bautista fight on 7 days' notice, it was really, really nice, and I think that's something that we can build off of. He's riding the little hot streak after his submission win. Kind of a slightly embarrassing knockout that he had prior to that, but
Yeah, that was
uh,
pretty goofy.
it was yeah, but I would say I think it's a pretty safe here for Demel Blackshear. Kind of explains why the number is so high next to his name,
Yeah.
minus 45. But I will take that money line right there. I think he gets it done.
I'd have to agree. He's very resilient. I mean, he's always looking for a finish. He has 9 submissions in his, I think 9 submissions. So no, I think he could take this down. But like you said, I mean, Gibson's very old. I mean, 7-year difference. I think he's slowly starting to exit his time in the UFC, especially if he loses this. I think Blackshear is also very hungry right now. He lost he won his last fight and then lost 2 prior to that, so he's definitely looking for, getting himself back in the, streak of winning. I don't really see this fight being too close in my opinion. I think this fight probably ends in round 2 by submission.
All right. Yeah, so I see Demel Blackshear getting in a finish here, but I'll stick with the decision here to offset it all. All right, so next fight on the card, we got Kurt Holobaugh versus Alex Hernandez. So Alex Hernandez just fought what's his name? The other Ultimate Fighter who lost, who Kurt Holobaugh beat. So Kurt Holobaugh, I'm not really sure. I think that he's a decent underdog in this fight against Alex Hernandez. I think Alex Hernandez looks very good in his fights, or in sparring and in practice and in training. But
Got a
Holobaugh,
crazy nickname.
eh,
Guy's nickname is the Great Ape. I mean, can you really pick against a guy like that?
The great.
I mean, the great, not just
Great
the great ape.
eight.
Yeah. No, I think Hernandez, he's been kind of used as a stepping stone, for a lot of guys. I mean, he lost to Billy Q almost 3 years ago now. And of course, if you remember, Moicano also submitted him a while ago, but he did have that nice win over Jim Miller, UFC legend, and he's coming off a couple decisions where it was he didn't really do enough to win and he didn't do enough to lose, and that's hence why they ended up both being, I think they were both split um last year in 2024. But I think he does have what it takes to get through Holobo. I am not confident in this fight at all. Both of these guys have been kind of on win loss. Kind of just barely maintaining their place in the UFC. And it's just one of those fights where it's really hard
They
to
need it.
see where either of these guys progress. But that's kind of where you get these good fights. Like Joey's saying, they need it. These guys are going to go out there. They're going to put on a war. So I always love watching lightweight fights, regardless of how good any
yeah,
of these
yeah,
guys are,
funky,
because I think this weight class and this division just puts on a show no matter what. I'm campaigning right now. You guys can put a clip in this, comment on YouTube, whatever. We need more lightweight headliners. We need more lightweight fight night headliners. I'm sick of it. We need more of them.
yeah.
I love
Like
watching these fights.
even if you recall from 308 UFC 308, Taporia versus Holloway. Even like
Yeah.
the Rebecca versus Oralby fight, that could have
Oh my
easily
god.
headline a
Yes.
main event of a fight night.
Like
I mean, it probably
get
would have went the distance there, but
we talked about like Bahamondes and Rufy, and like get these guys as fight night headliners. We need it.
Yeah.
I love watching the
Very
lightweights fight.
entertaining.
It's so good. So yeah, I'm not. Both of these fighters could go out there and win it. Both of them could go out there and lose it. I'm not
You
partial
got
to
it in the
either of
lay?
them, but no, it is not in the lay. But I think I'm just gonna take Alex Hernandez here. I think Holopo. I think he finds a way to lose. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I have Hernandez too. He's, always gonna go out there striking. Like you said, he has some very big names that he's fought, like Miller and Cerrone. Um, I don't know. I think this is gonna be a very entertaining fight. I think it's gonna go through the 3 rounds. I don't think they're gonna be able to get to each other as much as we think. He also had the decision fight over Jim Miller on Fight Night 219. And he's actually Hernandez is pretty active. But past 5 fights he has lost 3 of them, and that can always be a little bit of a I don't know,
I
like a
mean, he beat
downslope for
Beneil
somebody.
Dariush 7 years ago. So if that's
People forget, man.
helpful
People
information,
forget, man.
Y-
Yeah. So
they rightfully forget that
That's
information.
7 years though. A
for
little
me, I'm
little
taking
far
Kurt.
out
I'm
there.
gonna take Kurt Holloway. I'm looking at the Austin Hubbard fight, comparing both of those fights for each of the fighters. So Alex Hernandez did win that fight, but I thought that fight was super close. I could have went to Austin Hubbard there. As for Kurt Holloway, he made pretty good work of him.
Dubbed him.
I'm just gonna take the underdog here because I think that Holloway's a crafty veteran. Alex Hernandez probably is the better fighter, but I think that Holloway will have a better night um, because Alex Hernandez is a little bit of a shitty cage fighter, but great fighter, MMA fighter overall. He just when he gets to the bright lights of the octagon, he doesn't perform all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about underdogs, man, let's get to my guy Chitty Bang Bang and Joe Kuwani. This guy right here is special. I love watching him fight. He's got one of the greatest nicknames in the UFC. And I think he has a really favorable matchup right here. Eliseu is a little older. As you can see on the screen, he is favored right now. But this guy, Chitty, I really like the way that he fights. He's a purebred MMA fighter. And I mean, 80 inches of reach. He's that guy. And yes, he's 36 years old. He's coming off a couple wins after losing to Oleksiejczuk, but I really like where he's going right now. And I've got him in the parlay. This guy is awesome.
He wants that money bonus too. He's already had a few of those throughout his
Ooh,
career,
yeah.
so we know he's gonna want that.
Yeah, me personally, I'm taking Zaleski dos Santos here. We all know what he did to Sean Strickland. People forget, man. Sean Strickland bad. I think that
He did. That's
he's
true.
he's a he's an older fighter. Both of them are pretty old, but I think Chitty can definitely pull a win out here. But I'm gonna go with the crafty vet, Zaleski dos Santos. Heavy-handed guy, going with him. Dos Santos by knockout for me.
I'll probably do the same.
All right.
Big mistake.
Nah, I think Chidi is a very good fighter. I can see Zaleski dos Santos training him. I mean we've seen it before. So all right. So next fight, main event of the evening, we got Marvin Vettori versus Dolidze 2. This fight is interesting to me. I want to hear your guys' take before I get into this.
Start us off, Joe.
I mean, Corey's on, little bit of a slope right now. I mean, he did win the last fight by decision. Which obviously helps. You might know his Roman style a little bit more. I mean, he's younger. Um, I think Roman also, he's had two pretty good back-to-back fights against pretty big names. Anthony Smith, how we know how Rob feels about him, and then we have Kevin Holland, who also has been on a little bit of a downfall. So I mean, those are definitely two great wins to have in your books. And then he's also fought. I think he fought three times last year. Um, so and like
Yeah,
I
he
said,
lost.
against
He lost to probably title contender Imavov.
yeah. So I mean,
Oh,
very good names that he's fought recently. But I think Vettori might have the edge on him, just like the last fight. Um, I don't know though. I think this one can go 50-50.
I think that's the key, to be honest. I
I was
think
gonna say, yeah,
it's the fact that
that's
we've
really
already
good
seen it.
odds.
We've already seen it,
Good
and
odds.
there's 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 some there is some sort of formula that we do with these rematches. Whenever usually, and there's very few times this has changed, when you have two guys that fight and the younger guy wins.
And
If you
especially when it
rematch,
goes to the distance.
yeah, if you rematch, the younger guy wins only faster. Um, I think that's not going to happen though. I think we've watched a trend over the past couple, I would say months. I mean, we've watched plenty of guys that come back from major injuries, like Vettori. He's been inactive. Fazeev came back and ran into a wall. Yes, Justin Gaethje is good. There's been a couple
Good point.
fights that and I just think that we're kind of running into a we're getting too comfortable with these guys that are coming back from injury. And I really think that um after watching some of the other fights, especially that happened on these last cards that we've seen, I think the guys that are coming off injured, they just have a lot more to prove. And I'm more comfortable taking someone like Dolidze, who's has quality wins in the last year. That being said, Vettori has put up great fights against, great champions.
I was gonna say, do you think that has an effect? I feel like Vettori has a little bit more competition under his hand, obviously facing Adesanya, Costa, Whitaker, like all those guys. Like, do you think having those guys under your belt, who were obviously the top at some point in their career, do you think that might help Vettori, understand his opponents more than um, Roman?
I think it definitely would. But I would argue that yes, there's some prestige to the names that Vittoria has fought, but I don't think Dolidze is kind of far from that. Nasruddin Imavov is a absolute world
Killer.
beater, and
He's a sniper.
if it
He's
isn't
consistent.
for he is just fantastic, and I think if it isn't for someone named Hamzat Chimaev, he probably would be the undisputed title challenger right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You
And
got
I
I
was blanking when I was talking about it earlier, but I mean, we even saw Amir Albazi come back when he fought Brandon Moreno, coming back off
or
of a
bad.
major injury.
What was that 50,
It was,
55?
and he didn't look very good. It's, I just think that the betting lines and a lot of people are getting a little too comfortable betting on these guys coming back from injury, especially Marvin Vittori. He may be younger than Dolidze, but he's still a veteran, and I think that does show in this fight, which is why I'm gonna take Dolidze.
Alright,
I like
interesting.
that pick. I
Let
think
me
the
hop
same
on
thing
this here
happened
for you.
last. One sec. I think the same thing happened, like you said, injuries. Um, we saw the same thing with Fazeev. People got a little too comfortable. That line was what plus 130 or 140 for Geechee. I think you're kind of right. It's very similar with this. He hasn't fought since 2023. Didn't fight at all in 2024. I really like that point that you touched up on. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm this is my breakdown for this fight. So you got one hand, like Silas said, Vittori's coming off some injuries, and then we got Dolidze decently active and healthy fighter. Older fighter. I think he's 38 years old, and we got Marvin, lower 30s. But Marvin's been in the UFC for a long time. Both of them have been fighting for a while in the UFC. I think the odds speak for itself. I mean, obviously, I think this is how the Gaethje versus Fiziev fight odds should have looked, and that would be minus 148 towards the Gaethje side. But I think the odds are solid here because we obviously saw Marvin Vettori win in the first fight. But so in a 5-round fight, which is the main event here, we got Marvin Vettori is a bit of a fucking blockhead. His head is square. He has probably the best chin in the UFC, in my opinion, and I think that
The brick, bro.
he wears damage like no one else. Seriously, him and Cheeto Vera literally wear damage like no one else. And I just I
Cheeto
mean,
Vera is different
over a
though.
5-round fight, it's just I think that he can no reaction to some of the damage. I think that Dolidze will slow down in the last 2 rounds, but I think Dolidze can definitely pull out 3 rounds out of 5 on Marvin. I don't think this fight will go to the ground. I think Marvin's takedown defense is very solid. Obviously, if Roman gets Marvin down, it's dangerous to anyone in that division. Incredible jiu-jitsu practitioner. But overall, I think I'm gonna go with Roman Dolidze in this fight because I think he's just been too active. He obviously beat Kevin Holland in his last fight, Anthony Smith. He's on a little bit of a run right now. So I gotta go with Roman, the more active guy. But I do see Marvin Vettori also winning this fight with his very good chin and just not wearing damage, just outpointing him over 5 rounds. But I'm gonna stick with my gut and go Roman Dolidze.
I will agree. I'll go Roman by decision.
Yeah,
I like it.
Lock it in. Yeah.
You guys have any method of victory? You guys both going decisions?
Decision. I'm going decision for sure on this fight.
Yeah, decision.
Even if it's not on the lay.
Yeah, decision or sub for Roman's a solid.
Speaking of the lay, dude.
Yeah, let's toss
You guys
that
got
in,
your
baby.
pick?
Let's do a lay of the night.
I mean, I've got one ready. I've already placed this bet. If you guys would like to hear. I'm gonna start it off. Kevin Vallejos, bro. Win by KO. TKO.
I got the same.
He's minus 175. It looks really good. I think that's a pretty free bet. I think he's gonna win, and I'm fairly certain if he is gonna win, that's gonna be how it's gonna be done.
I agree.
I think an easy one here. I think Cortez Acosta versus Ryan Spann is going to go over 1.5 rounds. It is currently minus 180 on the DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's solid.
And like I said, Cortez Acosta, he takes fights to distance. He slips punches. He doesn't get hit. I think Ryan Spann, that fight is going to be no different. Ryan Spann has a crazy chin, so I like where that line is at. I've also added Damone Blackshear, just straight up money line. Yes, the number's minus 425, but that's why you put it in a parlay like this. I think he's going to win. Joey likes his submission game, so we know that's how we include it there. I am taking a dog on this fight. I love my man Chitty Bang Bang. I think he's going to get it done. I understand that Elizayu has knocked out Sean Strickland, but I love the way Chitty is trending right now. He's got some nice octagon interviews. I'd love to see another one. And to cap it all off, I am going to take Vettori Dolidze over 4.5 rounds. I don't really see a world where this does not go to decision. Vettori has a crazy chin. I don't think Dolidze is going to be able to violate Vettori on the ground like he did Kevin Holland.
He's not
and yeah, and I just think that's where we end up here. I've got a nice little parlay on those all together. So feel free to fade me, tail me, but I like the way this looks.
Yeah, so
what are the total odds on that?
Right, we're sitting at right near plus. Sorry, I'm pulling up. Plus 1049. That's where we're at right now. So I like where that's at.
I definitely like the underdog pick. I think, but I don't know. I think in mine, I think I'd play it safe and go Santos. I think you can't go wrong. And then I also did
Let me see what I got for
my
the viewers right now. I'll throw all of that into the parlay right now to see what the viewers at since the line's changed a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll run my parlay real quick if you guys don't mind. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely gonna take Vallejos and Choi to go under 2.5. That's a lock for me. It's a minus 250 line. It's pretty chalky, but I'm going that.
Can I just interject for just 1 second? It is plus 1043 if you were to place that today on my parlay.
1043. That's very solid.
that's 10 to 10,
It's Chitty that's
or that's
boosting it.
10 to 104.
Chitty's boosting that parlay.
Lock it in,
Chitty's the
bro.
guy, man. He's the guy.
Silas has all the confidence in it. Lock it in.
So we got under 2.5 for Vallejos versus Choi. I think that's a lock. I think Nergozov money line minus 405, pretty chalky as well. But I think it's a lock for me. He has to win that fight. And then another lock on the card we didn't actually touch because we only did really the main card. Andre Lima, I think he's a very good prospect. He's 10-0 right now. He looks very good. I think that Daniel Barres is just not equipped to beat Andre Lima at this point. I think it will be a very good fight. I think both are good prospects, but I think I'm going with Andre Lima there with the money line. Minus 455, also pretty chalky, but sticking that in. And then we got the fight to go the distance with Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze. So this is a plus 211 parlay, and I think this might hit.
You gotta go bigger, Rob. Those are some soft parlays. I'm not gonna lie.
Rob's about to end that free money
It's all
though.
about that money, son.
That's true. I locked in pretty much all my picks that I said. I got Roman money line at plus 140, great value. Hernandez money line. Santos money line. I have Blackshear spread minus 3.5. Like I said, I love his. Like I think he's gonna control that fight all the way through. I think 3.5 on the scorecard is a lock. And then I also got Cortez, just money line straight up. That is a 5-pick plus 1100 parlay. So I think it's a lock. You guys
Tossing
should
around those bucks.
hail it. Hail it. We'll throw them up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see it. All three of ours.
Well, I guess that wraps it up, boys. A little outro. Alright, so Fuse family, it's been real. We love you guys. Please tune in. Stay tuned for the next fight night. We got the London card coming up. We got the UFC Mexico card coming up. Then I think there's another fight night in between those.
All right, let's get the dog.
And then we also got,
before we end it,
UFC 314 coming up in March. Very excited for those. We'll probably be breaking down every single one of those fights. Or not in March, in April, in Miami. Waffles, say goodbye. And Fuse family.
Waffles are going to get us views.
We out, boys. Have a good night.
Peace.
Enjoy the fights.